Hello everybody, it's Pam from Pam Crafted Journals, and I just want to do a quick walkthrough of the results of an eco boil or a leaf boil that I did yesterday. I had found some red flowers at a friend's house and picked them up off her walkway and thought I should grab some flowers and just do an eco boil. So that's what I did. I came home, grabbed a big basket, went into my backyard, found all the pretty flowers I could find, plus a few weeds, and just threw them all into an eco boil, stacking my paper up, and just tried to see what I might be able to get out of it. So here's the results. It's my stack of paper, and I didn't get a lot of variety in my colors. I got a lot of blue and yellow, which is okay. I think in the fall, that's when I've seen with the different leaves changing colors, that's when I've seen a lot more variety in the colors and the prints. But it was still fun to do. And I got to try out something with a cookie sheet, or not a cookie sheet, but a cookie rack, which I'll talk about in just a second. But the paper that I used was all pretty much regular weight paper. I didn't really use any heavyweight paper at all. It was mostly some linen for resume paper, regular weight, just I think the traditional white printer paper, as well as a little bit of parchment paper. And in the boil itself, I just used water with a couple of rusty items. I think I had a couple big clampy paper clips that were rusted out, and I think I have some rusty pieces of wire that I threw in there. I don't know the science behind it, but generally when you throw a rusty piece of something in the water, it does tend to bring about some sort of chemical reaction where the colors just seem to come out better, and I don't know why, but it is what it is. I did use a little bit of vinegar later once I had set it to simmer to set the colors that did come out. I didn't use alum. I know a lot of people do, and I think it does really bring out some bright colors. But I really cannot stand how the paper feels after you used alum on it. I almost always had to wear gloves when I was handling it. And it just would make my hands and my skin and everything feel gross. And then I felt like when I would journal on the pages that had alum on them, I don't know if it would dry out the tips or what. So I just never really liked it. I think it was a very successful way to pull out color, but the tactile feel for me was more than I could handle. So I don't use alum anymore. So just a quick flip through. So again, you're gonna see a lot of blue and yellow. This is, well, I'm going to explain about this one maybe halfway through. That's appropriate. So what I have is just some basic colors that came through. Some of the flowers that I threw in here were zinnia, cosmos, sedum. There was some sort of succulent that I used. And I know it was the succulent because once I boiled it, everything else just sort of rolled and peeled off, and the succulents felt kind of like gooey and snotty, which is just nasty, but that's okay. And so that's what I had. So I just used what I had, and I got a lot of, like I said, blues and yellows, and I'm just gonna do a fairly quick flip through. Some of these fell down on my patio. The wind blew them down, and it's near my garden, so I ended up, oh look, there's a thick piece of succulent plant right there. It's not a slug, it's a leaf, but it's all gooey. Ooh, kind of looks like a slug. Ooh, gross. Anyway, so some of my papers got a little bit roughed up, but that's okay, we'll use them for something. Not a problem. You can see, hopefully, that I did have some flowers that had a pretty thick center, and you can see that that pushed down on the paper. I do think that that adds some visual interest to the page. However, I do make my journals for people to actually journal and write in them. So I do have a paper press that I put together myself, where I might try to flatten these out just a little bit because I do want the people who use my journals to be able to write on that comfortably. Although I really like sort of the texture that it gives. So that's that. Some of the flowers I'll leave on there. They're a little bit translucent at this point. I'll leave those on the page if they want to stay there, and I might just throw some Mod Podge over the top. because I like the visual interest that they add. These are sedum. I just happen to know that. I don't really recognize what plants make what imprints usually, but this I happen to know is sedum, which is a thicker succulent. And because it is so thick and so firm, I think it allowed some of the murky water in, and that settled in there. And then what you actually have is a negative print, because the sedum actually didn't leave any color, but it was pressed so tightly that I don't know how to explain it, but basically it's the negative image of the flower. It pressed out all the murky water where the flower touched. That's the best way I can explain it. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a anything. I'm just a person who boils flowers on a Thursday night because this is what I do for fun. Yeah. That's what I do for fun. I don't know what everybody else does for fun, but me, it's pretty much playing with paper and making journals. And so this is the cookie rack that I put in the middle because some of my flowers were a little bit bulkier, and as I built up my layers, the stack started getting kind of wonky, so I just threw in a cookie rack in the middle just to sort of even things out again, provide sort of a middle layer to help press down what was down below. And then I got some really cool effects from that, just with that cookie rack, which you'll see another page in here too from another sheet that was touching on the other side of it. And I like it because it adds a neat texture to the page. And also the lines are really cool when you put them into a journal. Yeah, this is the really cool one. It got a little bit ripped, but in a journal, that's so fun. If I was journaling on this page, I would just be loving life because I have all these funky lines in there. There's a lot of texture to the page. It's got a lot of interest. It's a very characterful page. So the rest of these pages are, this one got a little bit dark. It's a really cool, can you see that? I'm not sure. I have a shadow. Look at that, I have a shadow. I'll have to figure that out. So yeah, that's what I got in there. Just a whole bunch of these guys. These are from that bright red flower that I originally found on the path at my friend's house. So it's always interesting when you have a flower. No, I mean, it was like that kind of red. It was red, like fire engine red. And it pulls out these colors instead, which I always think is so intriguing, which is one of the reasons why I really like doing leaf boils, because you just never know what you're going to get. It's like Forrest Gump. Never know what you're going to get. So this was actually the reason why I did the leaf boil in the first place, was this. And of course that turned out really good. Got a big old tear in the middle of my paper. Not sure why, but I'm sure I'll figure out something to do with this. And again, just not a lot of variation in the colors except for that one red flower. So this is the other side that they were smashed into. So that's pretty neat looking. Yeah. The paper that tore the most was the linen, the kinds that I just think it's a softer paper, and I think the water affects it a little bit more. I just noticed, I can tell which ones are the linen by the, you can almost just see these like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like a weave almost in the paper. It looks like linen. I guess that's why they probably call it that. So this was the paper that I had to be the most careful with when I was handling it. So that's about it. There's not a lot else in here. Just thought I would show you what came about from my first leaf boil of the fall. And I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks. Bye.